Have you ever wondered why China would want to establish a link with the world? I mean, its dream project Belt and Road Initiative expands from Australia down south to Latin American countries. For some, it is an over-ambitious neo-colonial plan by China. I couldn't agree more. But is that enough? China wants to colonize 150 countries. What kind of answer is this? There must be a reason behind this attempt. Let's look at why the British did it. Look at the geostrategic map of the United Kingdom. Before air power gained traction, the geography had little access to resources. In fact, it is an island. In colloquial language, Indian school teachers still tell the pupils that the British had brains due to having too much fish in their diets. It is due to this brain that these people ensured supply of vital resources from all across the world. Let me tell you, China is no different. It has very little of its own to feed itself. The land is worthless to grow own produce. Current policies hinder trade and other countries, and Jinping's jingoism in trade as well as physical war is not helping the Chinese economy either. Let's analyze China's capability for it. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Sabita Mishra and this is TFI Post. China's stress on food has been tremendous to say the least. It was never one of the most fertile lands to begin with. In fact, it is a famine-prone area. Things changed after Mao's autocracy started to push people towards using the fertile capacity till the last layer. Mao raised forests and replaced them with houses and farms. Though a bit later than Mao wanted, black soil regions started to yield, leading to demand in arable lands. Today, China is considered a success story when it comes to food security. Rice, wheat, potato, tomato, sorghum, peanuts, tea, millet, barley, cotton, oilseed, corn and soybean are major crops in China. The chart you are just seeing indicates China's share in the global market of few of these crops. Apart from soya, China's share in every crop is in double digit. But success has come at a cost. The productivity of China's land has increased, but the fertility has been destroyed. Apart from increased exposure to wind and rain leading to erosion, incessant use of biochemicals has been the main reasons behind it. To increase productivity, the Chinese used pesticides and fertilizers in gigantic proportions. According to science journal Nature, China consumes 43% of pesticides produced all across the world. That is too much for a country whose cropland is less than 8% of the global arable land. The graph you are seeing on shows the rate of which the China increased its pesticides manufacturing in the last 10 years. In fiscal year 23, it was worth over $54 billion. Apart from that, it also imports fertilizers worth nearly $1 billion on an annual basis. It uses 13.1 kg of pesticides per hectare, which is more than 5 times that of second position USA in overall quantity. China also uses fertilizers in large quantities. Looking at the graph, between 1990 to 2000, China's imports fertilizers increased continuously. Only after concerns about its effects on soil started to gain momentum did the imports started to decline. Despite that, even in 2021, China was the fifth largest importers of the fertilizers in the world with a total expenditure of $2.77 billion. Combinedly, China uses 30% of the global agrochemicals. That is huge, and this is the reason why China's land has seen a decrease in quality. During the last 73 years, China has lost 20% of its arable land. According to a Bloomberg report, organic content in soil has reduced by as much as 75%. No wonder between 1990 to 2014, China's food imports increased at a rate greater than export. The difference is huge. The trend has continued in the last 8 years too. And what is China's solution for it? Well, a typical authoritarian one, doubling down on the destruction of soil. It is further expanding its fertilizer avenues. China's own fertilizer market is expected to grow at a CAGR of 6.92% till 2028. God only knows the extent to which Jinping will go on importing agrochemicals. Definitely, other than using its trademark coercion technique, CCP is going to find it tough to gather money to ensure food security in the long run. China's international relations have been helter-skelter for the last 7 to 8 years. Bilateral trade is the thing that takes the biggest hit in such circumstances. ASEAN, European Union, United States, South Korea and Japan were the top 5 trading partners of China in 2022. The problem is that China has a tumultuous relationship with most of them. The whole of Europe is fed up with China while their master, the United States, is embroiled in a trade war with a communist nation. With more than required pressure on Japan and no towing of North Korea, China has left no stone unturned in turning neighbors into enemies. Resultantly, China's exports are collapsing and the balance of trade that China is known for has started to reflect it. With competitors like India, Vietnam, and self-destructing economic policies of Jinping, a comeback doesn't look quite possible in the upcoming decade. If decreasing exports is bad news, then the chances of China having good enough to exports are dwindling. Primarily because China is finding it tough to sustain its energy imports. Look at this pie chart at China's energy consumption basket. The chart takes a bone out of China's claim of prioritizing green energy targets. Energy from coal comprised 55% of total primary energy consumption in the communist nation. Petroleum comprises 19% while natural gas comprises 8%. To check the future course of China's energy consumption basket, it is worthwhile to see how China is doing it in all 3 of them. The first is coal. China's own National Bureau of Statistics told us that in the year 2022, China's coal imports declined 20 basis points faster than its production increased. Same is the case with natural gas. Despite Russian gas available at doorstep, China's gas imports declined by 9.9%, while production could only increase by 6.4%. With 368.5 BCM of gas, China barely managed to fulfill its demand in 2022. Only crude oil could witness greater change in percentage of production than decline in imports. But it won't bring much change on ground since local production comprises only 33% of China's crude oil sector. 2022 was also the first year since 2021 when China's oil refinery fell. It is tough to decipher the exact reasons behind it. But the decline in exports and GDP growth rate coupled with shrinking of energy prospects has created a catch-22 situation. Declining energy is going to produce a damper effect on productivity on the economy and vice versa. Trade war with the USA is making matters worse for China. The reason why the trade war started is because Trump was aware of Chinese people committing intellectual theft from the USA. 5 years down the line, China's tech sector is facing the heat. On top of that, problems have arisen in the semiconductor sector. China's semiconductor dream is getting crushed by high-quality semiconductors produced by Americans in the last few years. Though Americans produce only 12% of semiconductors available all across the world, in value terms, it is 60%, which simply means that they have high-grade semiconductors. It shows that despite China containing the lion's share of the sector, it doesn't add value. It is going to hamper the future development of high-tech equipments like the military devices. Lack of skilled labor in China's semiconductor sector has created this substandardization. And let me assure you, the problem is going to be grimmer in future. Tell me, what is the median age of China? Its median age is 38.4 years. Life expectancy is 78.1 years. The percentage of people under the age of 20 is 23.3%. People belonging to the median age category are currently serving their parents and kids under 20 years of age. They can't donate time for skilling. Okay, so kids may be the future. Not really in this case. Almost all of the teenagers are single children and have to take care of their parents. By the time they develop enough skills for a hyper-technical job, their parents who are near the median age in China will be on the verge of retirement. Given the fact that China has relaxed its one-child policy, the teens who will grow up between 2030 to 2035 will have the responsibilities of their parents and their own children, which will be greater than number 1. With so much on their plates, they are less likely to replicate the generation of youth which sacrificed its comfort for CCP in the 20th century. The problem for Jinping gets exacerbated when we find that he won't settle for foreign labor like that of America and other Western countries. Jinping desperately wants to not tamper with the image of China being attached to Han Chinese. He also fears the Great Replacement. The population collapse in China is inevitable, and only an iron fist resulting in millions of deaths can stop it. Even that is not guaranteed. China is making matters worse by starting new conflicts.